guys and gals and other assorted people. It's Matt P again. This is the start of the second part of my build series on my mount models, Pier 7 food and fuel. So I figured I'd stand here for a second. There's a train running around here. So usually this is what happens when I'm by myself and I run a train around. I can do work on other stuff. The train will run for 2 hours, no problem. And then when I put on a video camera or somebody comes over to just see what's going on down here, something immediately will happen, like a derailment or a stall, or something will become uncoupled or something. That's just the law of model railroading. That's what always happens. Gremlins, I guess. But we just ran right into a building because I was over here messing and bumped its spot. Look at that. Keep it real around here, guys and gals. Just move that out of the way. See what happened? Look at that. Crash, crash. Well, you're going to have to get the carpenters out here to replace that thing. I don't know what's going on there. But see, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Anyway, so maybe I just give this up for the moment. Let's go over to the workbench. Got one little thing to show you on the pier, and then I will get into building the back there stall. Okay, I'll get into building the restaurant for it. So, without further ado, let's go. Yeah, set me up on a tripod for this little venture. Just wanted to show you briefly how I do barnacles without getting into entirely too much detail about it. But go down to any pier or marina, you're going to see barnacles clinging to everything. So let's start with these legs. Hopefully you can see them. Let's rearrange my hands. Got some tacky glue. I'm going to scoop some on a toothpick here, and I'm going to apply it in random spots. Let's start with this leg. I'll just do this one as an example. Get all around. Some down there and around. The water line goes up to the crossboard, so we got to get some on there too. Alright, there we go. Over here on this plate, I mixed together some brown and gray ballast. It's the fine stuff from Woodland Phoenix. I'm going to scoop a little bit on and sprinkle it. Using the plate to save everything that falls off. Alright, looks like we got it all a little bit more up there. Give it a little shake. Then I go and do the rest of them, let it sit and dry for a good numerous hours. And then I go back over it with a very small brush, almost dry brushing different colors of acrylic craft paints over top of these barnacles. A lot of blacks, or real dark, almost blacks, dark gray, some browns and some greens a little bit here and there. At least 3 different colors. Barnacles are all different colors, but they are pretty nasty looking and grimy looking. So, let me take the camera down off the tripod to show you what this looks like up close. And then we'll go into the building. Yeah, building the building. Okay, here's my remote. I'll be back in a flash. Okay, there we are. I think you can see that pretty well. So that's what it looks like. Get my thumb out of the way. So anyhow, like I said, once that dries, we'll give it a little dry brushing, and we're going to be good to go. I forgot I needed to do some on the other side of that crossboard, so I will. But we'll get to rest of the detailing the pier and stuff in the third video, and detailing the building as well that goes on it. That'll be the third video. So just wanted to show you that's how to get it started. Should have put that in the first video, but I didn't think of it at the time. So there we go. All right, let's get on to the structure. So just like you saw my RS3 engine crashing into a structure and then hitting a dirty spot on the track and stalling out. Sometimes these videos, when I make them, can be quite hazardous. That was minor. So I was getting ready for this segment, putting my camera on the tripod. It's a very strong grip on my phone. It has a hard spring in it. You got to really crank down on, clamp it together. Anyhow, so I was doing that, putting it onto my tripod, and I didn't have my phone sitting right. And when I let go of it, it snapped, and the phone flew through the air, cracked me upside the head, and landed on the ground. So, of course, I said a curse word, went down to retrieve my phone off the floor, bumped my tripod, and that toppled over and crashed me on top of my melon again, and then put a gash in me. So I won't show you the gash on camera, but just things like that can be quite annoying when they happen. And what's the odds of me getting blasted upside the head twice in the space of 30 seconds trying to do this video? Anyway, move this stuff out of the way. I think you can see pretty good, I hope. This is the trim. Did this color. I'll do the windows and doors the same color. This is called Ocean View. How appropriate. From Folk Art. And then I think I'll do the walls. I try to put variations in my buildings. I don't want like all blue buildings and all white ones and all whatever. So this is a very light gray called Quarry Pebble. So that's what we'll use for these walls. Meanwhile, I had the bracing cut using this diagram. It shows you where to put it. The green is where the trim goes. Got the bracing on, glued on there. Just use tight bond wood glue for that. Put it under some weights. Let it dry thoroughly. Now we're going to stain it before I paint it. So I'm going to use the same stain that I used on the pier, just as the base for the wood. Driftwood by Hunterline. This is all shook up, ready to go. So get this all stained up. And that will be that. So once that this dries, I'll do all these pieces here. Once that dries, only take 15 minutes or so. It's good enough to paint. Dries very quickly. The other thing I did, and I might have missed a spot, is sand the edges where the little nubs are on the carrier sheet. Yeah, these should be all good to go. Once I get it painted, windows, doors painted, I'll get those glued in. We'll put the glass in the door, or in the windows. We'll put some shades. I'll probably put some of the signs on the outside of the building. There's a stencil somewhere that says gas. So we'll stencil some paint on one of these walls, whichever one I decide. And that'll be that. So let me do this and then we'll be back. Okay, I want this building to look like it's out in the elements and in the hot sun and facing storms on the coast, but that the owners still take good care of it and keep it up. So I don't want paint on it that's chipping and peeling. Some of the other buildings, I don't care if it's like that. But this is a fine establishment here. Just needs to look like the paint on the building itself is faded, but not chipping and flaking and looking horrible. I do like things that look horrible and chipping and flaking, but not with this one. Basically, I'm just taking this paint and scrubbing it into the wood. So I'm not using a whole ton of it, but it's not dry brushing either. Just kind of using this flat brush, if you can see it. And just giving it some pressure and a little scrubbing into the wood. You can still see some of the stain, the stained wood underneath showing through. If I had to use a darker paint, probably wouldn't be able to see the wood much underneath it, but with this light, very light gray, it gives it that effect. Looks pretty cool. So let me take the camera down, give you kind of a close-up view of what it looks like. Hold on. Okay, folks, you can take a look like this. So you can see it's painted but faded. So I think that looks pretty cool. Did the doors and windows, again, not chipping paint. I didn't use a sponge or dry brushing technique on these to make them look all too beat up and battered either. But they look just a little bit faded. Just a little bit, if you can see. The door, I might add a little bit more paint to it. In fact, I will, definitely. And I need to paint the doorknob, because who paints their doorknob? Okay. Be back. Hopefully no more catastrophes and injuries. Here we are with the windows and doors and stuff in. Used the stencil, got the gas painted on there, did red for that. Put in window treatments, as you can see. There's a couple, did some little different ones here and there, so they're not all the same the whole way around. Got some black shades there, curtain there, the Venetian blind in the door, and in that window. This one stays open because that's a walk up for your carry out grub. And this one is slightly different. I don't know if it shows up very well in this light. That's a slightly different Venetian blind. So, there we are with that. Now I got to get on some signage and things of that nature. I put on some of the signs. Didn't put all of them on yet. I think I'm going to put the building together before I add any more signs. So I added this, there, can you see it there? Little menu board. This sign up here, you can make this three-dimensional if you want, because it provides, the kit provides a laser cut board. If you see there, those two triangles, you could add it to that and just make it three-dimensional. But I opted to just cut the signs out and sand the backs of them and place them on there as if they've been painted onto the building. So you can do things however you want with these kits. So we added this one. That's not a painted on sign, just one that's hung there. The number 7. Actually, according to the kit instructions, the triangle 7 pier is supposed to go on this piece, but I kind of forgot. So once it was on there, I'm like, well, screw it, I'm not ripping it off. So the 7 is was cut out of that same piece right there. I painted it the same color as the trim. and glued it on there as if it was a piece of wood turned into a 7. So that's where I'm at so far. Now I'm going to get this stuff put together and enjoy my sarsaparilla. I don't drink sodas too often. Maybe once a week or so, but when I do, I try to find a nice good one. And if you've never had sarsaparilla, you have no idea what you're missing. It's similar to birch beer, but just a little bit better. Of course, if you've never had birch beer, then I don't know what to tell you. But sarsaparilla is kick butt. All right, I'll be back. Walls glued together. Oh, how cute. What a cute little building. Very cool. Got lots of character. There will have to be a beam that comes down here to hold up that end of the roof. Added a little bit of weathering around the bottom. The rest of the signage put on. I may add another little sign or two somewhere. The 7-Up, that came from my own stash. I figured it needed something to advertise what kind of drinks are in here. Yeah, I put a cross brace in there just to keep that small L-shaped section square, because it was a little fiddly. So I just cut a piece of scrap and stuck it in there. Now I'll be putting a beam across here, across the very tip top, so that we have something else to hold the roof up with. So, alrighty. That's it for this little segment. And here's the roof cards, glued on and drying. Tossed a rubber band on there to help hold them together. So, that's that. There's also this small roof that goes underneath there. Then the shingles. And here they are. And it looks like a big smeary mess, doesn't it? That's intentional. We like big smeary messes. Anyway, I used 4 colors. One called peppercorn, which is a dark gray. And then a burnt umber, dark brown. And like a raw sienna. What's this other one? Nubby linen. It's kind of like a really light tan. So basically, I just used these 4 colors, very lightly smeared them over top of each other and over everything, back and forth, mixed them together a little bit here and there, and it looks horrific, which is the way it's supposed to look. Once I peel these off, I might have shown you shingles on another video, but if you missed it, once you peel these off and you offset these lines as you place them on the roof over here, there'll be random colors, and they will not look like a smeary mess and will look a lot more natural. So once they're on, then a little dose of weathering over top of them to help blend everything. These will look really good. So, what's the other thing? Whoa, sorry. Dropped you. Here's this little corner or post that helps hold this up. Goes over here, hold the roof up. I'm not putting that on yet, just because I'm fiddling with the model, moving it here and there and upside down and sideways, backwards, and I'll end up breaking it off. So that'll be one of the last things that will go on. Not necessary to have it there at the moment. So that's where we are, and I haven't damaged anything else, not even myself today. All right, be back. Okay, wanted to show you this. Just stopped here before continuing on and finishing this up. Just wanted to show you these shingles and how they look. So you saw my big smeary mess sheet. And once you put them on there, they're not so smeary messy anymore. And they look pretty cool. A lot of variation in the colors. And once you weather them up even more, they will look real, real good. One thing you can do, and I will at some point, once I get them weathered, you can pry up a couple of these here and there and wherever. Like this one here is almost pried up a little bit. so it looks like it's loose and not 100% secure. And these shingles are cool. They look like, I don't know, a combination of different kinds of wood. So like a cedar and some others, maybe an oak. So very cool. All right. Be back once we get it all done. Shingling is all done. Woo-hoo! It's about as much fun as ballasting. Oh, I don't really mind it. Either one of them. So here we go. What I got to do yet to it is lift up a few of these, like this one here. Just lift them a little bit so that they look like they're slightly loose or wind battered. You can started to do a couple. Well, it's getting focused. Started to do a couple right there. Ridge cap I just did with construction paper, like tar roofing. You can do it with shingles, taking like individual shingles and bending them this way, bending them over top, the whole way across, and that way. And I don't know, I just felt like this would give it a little bit more interest. In fact, the pictures in the box show, or in the instructions show, yeah, there you go. See how they did the shingles on the roof cap? I could have done that. I just tried for this. I think it'll be all right. If I decide I hate it later on, I can easily peel it right off again. It's just put on there some white glue and then do shingles if I so choose. But I don't know. I'm okay with it. So there we are. We're all set. I still got to put in that porch post, if that's what you want to call that. And then we're going to get into a detailing for the next video, because this is about at the end. So this stuff, there's more signs and things got to take care of. Flag and awning using brass rod. I'm assuming that's what that is, only it doesn't look brass. Uh-oh. I got some rope. I got some material. Maybe I can make fishing nets out of it. I did that before on another building. It was a Foscale. I used this. It's Tulle, T-U-L-E. I think other spelling is T-U-I-L-L-E. It's wedding veil material, basically. It's great for chain link fences, also. Chicken yards. I don't know. Whatever you want to use your imagination for. So we got some rope there. We got a flagpole over here somewhere we got to put together. My workbench is getting quite messy. I got all these parts and pieces and details to paint. There's a bunch of birds. Tables, chairs, boxes, gas pump, an outboard motor, chimney, another chimney, or smoke jack chimney. Got some barrels. Got a cool 3D printed swordfish. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that yet. I haven't made up my mind, but it's an awesome looking little thing. Once I get it painted, I'll figure it out. What do you call those things? Not life vests, life buoys, life rings. There, that's what it is. And then cleats for tying up boats. So I got to do all that stuff. So all that stuff, that kind of stuff, will all be on to the next video. Here's the pier again without the ramp. That's sitting off to the side, but this building will sit up in here, something like that. So it's coming along. Well, thank you very much. Stay tuned for the next episode. Same channel, where we'll do all the details and finish it. So, I appreciate you guys coming along. Like I said, hit the like button, please. And hit the subscribe button, please. That'd be awesome. Certainly helps the algorithm in boosting material that I put out. So when you see coming up next on your YouTube screen, maybe it'd be one of mine. All right, folks. Oh, we have these two. We got all this to do here. Yeah, these thingers and thingamabobs. So, yeah. All right. It's going to be fun. Next one. Getting into the down and dirty. See you now. Thanks again. Bye-bye.